Hi everyone, it's me, the Broke Stacker. Today we're going to talk about another way to save a few bucks, do your own oil changes. So, first things first, there's the engine compartment. You're always going to have like a dipstick or something. Pull that sucker out before you do anything else and see where you're at to see how bad it was. And looking at that, sorry, try to get my camera to focus. Yeah, we're at least a quart and a half low, and I'm pretty sure with the full synthetic that's in this thing, we're at about, I don't know, 6,000 miles or so, so we're a little overdue for the winter time. If you guys don't know this, they'll try to sell you, oh yeah, synthetic's good for 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 miles, whatever the hell they are. So what happens after about 5,000 miles on any oil, especially conventional, but synthetic, we'll just kind of say it, the additives they put in there for preventative wear on a cold startup, that goes down, that goes away after 5,000 miles. So yes, you can go 7,500, 10,000 miles on it, but don't do that in the winter. Definitely not on cold startup. Summertime you could probably get away with it more, but don't do that in the winter time like it is here. So if you can't tell, yeah, it's a little snowy out over there. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and first things first, take your oil cap off, but so you don't forget to put oil in it. Put that sucker right there at the hood latch. You can't even close the hood latch without putting oil in it, right guys? So checked our oil, did that. Then we're gonna come down here. We got our oil catch can. Got our new oil. Actually, this is an old oil can. Got some brand new 5-quart jug. Best oil deal I found out there, other than Oddball's sales, are going to be over at Walmart. You guys get these 5-quart jugs. This is the stuff I use from Castrol, whatever. You get what you pay for in the long run. I'd rather pay $3 extra for oil than have to buy a $5,000 engine. So that's what we do with that. And on this particular vehicle, got our old torque wrench there for the drain plug. We're gonna get under here with the with our guy. Oh my goodness! I know it's gonna look like there's all sorts of stuff going on out here. First things first, you find your drain plug on the oil side, not the transmission, the engine oil. All right, guys, you do that. Get a good angle here. Test your socket, make sure you got the right size. Oh, this one is a 14 millimeter, which ironically is the same thing as a 19 millimeter. There's only, I'm sorry, not 19, a 14. 14 and 9/16 are the same exact size, and then a 19 and a 3/4 are the same exact size, if you guys didn't know. A lefty loosey, righty tighty, so act like you're looking at the head of the bolt. When you look at the head of the bolt and you go clockwise is righty, you go counterclockwise is lefty. So 99% of the time, lefty loosey to come off with your they call that right-handed threads, guys. Break your torque. Sometimes you need a breaker bar on that, depending on the last guy that did your oil change. Me myself, I do my own, so I use the good old torque wrench there, so never any issues. I'm probably way overdue on my drain plug gasket, as you can see, but it will get by. See how nasty and muckety muck that's coming out? It's coming out like damn near like sludge. I'm a little overdue. I call that some Idaho crude there for you guys, or depending on what state you're in, like California crude, Washington crude, whatever. That's at that point, it turns into a black syrup, if you will, coming out of this guy. So we're gonna take a little break here, give this a few minutes to drain out, and then we'll put our drain plug back in. All right, we're just about all drained out there. It's barely coming out. You can wait a half an hour till it's not doing anything anymore. The warmer your car is, the faster it's going to come out of there on in your oil, but be careful, don't burn yourself. This thing is stone cold right now, so I'm not even going to bother. Nobody's got time for that. So what I'm doing, I'll come back to this here in just a second, but where we're going to go after now is the oil filter. Now, You can get this in a place you can see it. You might just need to get a little oil filter wrench like this guy right here. They're adjustable for big and small. This is what I use. I was in the automotive industry for, I don't know, 10 years or so. And I still work on my own stuff, obviously, but if you guys need one, do you have these? Like, they're $20, and this thing's like 20, 30 years old, whatever. I'm old, yeah. So get under here, make sure our oil pan's underneath the, not the drain plug, but our oil filter. I'm doing all this one-handed here, so bear with me. Lefty loosey on this one too, guys. Sometimes you can do it with your bare hand, sometimes you can't. So just enough to break the torque on that. Again, make sure your drain plug's underneath where it needs to be. Drain pan, sorry. Oh boy, this is where it can get a little messy. Throw that down, and then you're done with that. Get yourself a rag here in a minute after it's done draining out. It is the messiest part, so make sure you have a few shop towels, shop rags handy, ready to go. So on your surface up there, right here, this is the O-ring surface for your oil filter. This is your oil filter O-ring gasket area. Sometimes the old gasket will stick on here, so always check that. Make sure you got good clean metal, good clean surface. I'm gonna slap that guy on there. Just trying to get by for the winter here, guys. Like I said, it's better to have a cheap oil filter and cheap oil in there than not doing your oil change at all. Hopefully this thing fits. There it goes. Don't ever force those threads, either on your drain plug or any threads for that matter. You just want these on hand tight. Alright guys, so I'm wiping up everything. Just use your shop towels accordingly. Now I will do a disclaimer here. I am an automotive professional. I was in industry for almost a decade, so and I'm doing other stuff now, but yeah, if you're not an automotive professional, take some classes, keep your wheels rolling, basic classes, and you'll just get the basics and you can do stuff like this. If it's too much beyond your abilities, and yeah, maybe go to Jiffy Lube or something to save a buck, but I am doing this myself, like I have been since I was 8 years old. Thank you, Dad. Dad did do me that justice and set me up right. And I've been wrenching for over 30 years now. God, I'm old. But yeah, guys, always make sure you clean up all your residual oil, anything that might have spilled. And then, for God's sakes, don't forget to torque the drain plug. Been this for a while, so always remember to do your guy. It's roughly about 15 foot-pounds. There it went. Sometimes it's 20. Just, you can Google it. Whatever foot-pounds. If you got a torque wrench, use that. If you got a good hand on you and you already torqued a million things, and you know when your elbow clicks, that means it's 10 foot-pounds, and your shoulder clicks is 20, whatever. Just make sure you get this guy on there. That comes out, you're going down the road, you're gonna probably buy an engine, so yeah, don't do that. Alright, so we're all cleaned up on the bottom, got all our oil driplets out of the way, nothing on the exhaust, don't start a fire on your car. Don't drip oil going down the road either. Make sure everything's nice and clean and tidy underneath. Torqued, ready to go to the next side. So now we're going top side. That was the bottom, now we're doing the top. These jugs that you get from Walmart, they come with 5 quarts, right? I'm a little bit of an angle here, but you guys can see the level in here. This is an old jug I had. They're both brand new oil, but you can see down here, this one's at, there's a liter side, quart side. Always go off of quarts. Your capacities, when you look up your capacities for your vehicle, should be in quarts. So if you need, 5 quarts, start off with 4, just in case. Put it in there, do a quick start, come back, recheck your dipstick after all the everything drains back down into the pan, and then check it again, because your oil filter is going to hide a little bit of oil in there too. And when you get to your dipstick tube, see here, you're going to have, you could see add on this side, safe, and it's kind of in the middle, and then don't fill. That's full, right? At the bottom, if you don't see any oil on this thing at all, you're in deep shit. So make sure you get oil in your rig. But you always want to try to put between the add and the safe line, because remember, oil does thermally expand. So if you get right there dead smack in the middle, or even at the top of the safe line, you should be fine. Engines love oil, but they don't love it when they don't have any. So try not to overfill your guys' stuff, otherwise you're going to be draining it back out of that drain pan. That's why I say start with, if you got a 5-quart capacity engine or whatever your capacity is on your specific year, make, model, then start off with 3/4 of that, start it, drain it off, and then you top accordingly after that. Another thing I like to add to all my motors, whether it be winter or not, I like to use a Lucas oil stabilizer. It does actually work. Prolongs engine life. Every engine I've ever had, I've always put this in it and never had an issue whatsoever. Makes your oil change a little more expensive, but again, better than buying an engine. So another little pro tip, take that sucker, your old one, make sure it's nice and clean, but don't buy funnels. This is a funnel. Didn't think to show the magic in here. It's kind of hard to do it one-handed, guys, but yeah, you just shove this guy in there, your homemade funnel in there. I think they did that on purpose. Thank you, Lucas. They make it where you can just shove it right in your oil filler there. Pour that oil right in there. That's the magic money shot, right, guys? Just like me, I'm a dipstick too. Dipshit, whatever. So we got that in there. Give it a second to chill out. Pull it up. Use rags so you don't get anything. So as you guys can see there, it's right in the middle of the safe with about 4.5 quarts on my engine, right? My engine's supposed to take roughly about 5 quarts. Yeah, always look up your specifications. Every year, make, model is going to be just a little bit different. All right, now we fire it up with the fuel pump cycle. See that oil pump pressure come up. If you got a pressure gauge, you might want to check that. And then, yeah, just give it like a minute or so at idle. Don't ever rev it. Try to set up this stupid camera so it doesn't fall over. Sorry. So now we started it. We cut the engine. We know we're going to be a little bit low, so this is where we're going to see how low we are, and we'll top off accordingly. So your dipstick's going to be still a little wet all over the place from the startup. So while I always pull it out, wipe it off, stick it back in, give it a second just to see if it creeps up that stick or not. Now, looking at our dipstick, see how all that oil's all over one side. We kind of got a spot there right at the add line, which is fine. Making a mess. Don't look at both sides just to double check. So we are right at the start of the add line, right? See if I can get this thing to focus. So it was right here. I like how it focused there. So it was right here at the bottom of the add line. From here to here, from the add to the top of the safe, they usually give you about 1 quart. That's about 1 quart. Sometimes they're smaller and like checkered, like about this size. That's about a half quart. Sometimes it's a full quart. Who knows? But usually from there to there, you got about a quart. So because I came in right here at the bottom of the add, I'm going to add 1 more quart. Start it up. Actually, you shouldn't have to restart it because your oil filter should be full of oil now. Add 1 quart, recheck it, and that should be it on your oil capacity. Alright, so I added exactly 1 quart of oil to the engine oil. We are at right here. Right there. Make sure you always check your coolant, you check your transmission fluid, and you check your brake fluid, and even, most of us probably remember this most than me, check your window washing fluid. So always check those things when you're in there. Do an inspection on your battery terminals, make sure they're not loose or corroded, and give your serpentine belt a gander. Make sure everything's off. Always do this with the key out of the ignition, all that stuff. Mine's looking a little glazed, but it's fine. It's not making any noise on me. If you start seeing any cracks from age and all that stuff, then it's definitely time to start thinking about changing out the old serpentine belt. Another thing, if you are going to jack up your car, make sure it's on jack stands. I'm not using jack stands or a jack on my vehicle today because it is a 3/4 ton and I can get underneath this thing without even any problems. So keep that in mind, guys. If you are going to use a jack and jack stands, use the jack stands, but also, for God's sakes, don't forget to chalk your tires. You never know when stuff can roll. Chalk your back tires while you're doing your oil change. Another pro tip for you guys, if you don't already, write down your gas consumption when you're driving. Kind of gives you an idea. As you can see, my gas mileage has been getting progressively worse. I just wrote down in my little maintenance log book here as well the oil change, and my tire pressure was pretty low, so don't forget to top off your tire pressure. The gas mileage doesn't lie. As long as you're driving the same every single time, the gas mileage will let you know if there's something going on. So just another pro tip for you guys. It's something I do, I've always done. Keep an eye out on your gas mileage. All right, another pro tip, keep your old oil jugs to pour your waste oil into. Take them over to your local O'Reilly's or AutoZone. They take waste oil, but before you go, call ahead, make sure they have space in it. Sometimes they fill up. They have transfer stations. Some of those, the garbage transfer stations, will also accept your waste oil. Both are free, so you don't have to pay to get rid of it, guys. Just remember, there's resources out there to make sure we don't have hazardous waste going into our environment. Please don't just dig a hole in the yard and pour it in there. That's horrible. I mean, Grandpa might have been told to do that, but that's not how we do it anymore, guys. So make sure you dispose of your waste accordingly to your local state guidelines and bylaws. Now we're almost done here, guys. You're always going to want to make sure your filter's out. Get rid of that sucker. And first thing, where we first started is where we end, is the oil filler cap. Don't forget to put that sucker back on. Clean up any of your little oil driplets. And yeah, that's it. That's the broke oil change, guys. So somebody's gonna say, oh yeah, I do cheap engine oil on here. Yeah, that's fine, good for you. I have a very busy life. Sometimes I got to stretch in an extra 1,000 miles on my engine oil, and I always make sure I have the good engine oil in there just in case. And you got to stretch it like that. Let your car warm up before you go driving. Like I said, those additives start breaking down. They're pretty much gone after 5,000 miles. So if it's cold outside and you got more than 5,000 miles on your oil, make sure you change it, guys. Anyways, until next time, keep stacking, stack 'em high.